Have you ever wondered how they get those straight lines on tumblers like this? Well, stick around and I'll show you how. We'll go from step A to step Z. So this video might be a little long, but I'll try to make it as short as possible. Hi, I'm Mara, and welcome to Sieta Gift Shop's channel. So to get started, here are a few things that you might need. We need a double-walled stainless steel tumbler. We will be applying epoxy, so we'll need to make sure that it is double-walled. We'll need epoxy, part A and part B. We'll need glitter. For today's class, we'll be using 3 different colors, so you can choose 3 of your favorite colors. We'll use Mod Podge. We'll need some 91% rubbing alcohol, a sealer, some coffee filters or paper towels, whichever you prefer, some paint brushes. We'll need some vinyl, but don't worry, you don't need to write all this down now. I will make sure to list everything down in the description below, and if you need any of those items, I'll include links. So, do you want to get started now? Why not? The first thing you want to do is lightly sand the cup. The glue and the glitter needs something to adhere to, so you don't want this to be too smooth. So when you rough it up a little bit, it has something to grab onto. Don't forget the butt. Please ignore the toys in the background. The grandkids were over earlier today. I love it when they visit. Now that your tumbler is sanded, you need to get the dust off of it. There's 2 ways to get the dust off. You can either wash it with soap and water and then either let it sit to dry or dry it off with a paper towel. My preferred way of cleaning off the dust is with coffee filters. They're pretty inexpensive and it minimizes any dust that might get on the cup. And I use some 91% alcohol and spray it on there. All the way around, cleaning it off, make sure you get all the dust off of it. Now that we have our cup sanded and measured, we are ready to cut our vinyl. And here's our pretty design. This design comes from Ellie's Craft Co. And I will put a link down in the description below. Isn't it so pretty? And you can use a Cricut, and I'm pretty sure you can use the Silhouette or any other cutting machines, but she gives specifications on her website. I have the Cricut, so that's what I'm using. Now that the vinyl has been cut and labeled so we know which color is what, we're going to put it on a transfer sheet, also transfer paper. It's kind of tough to pull off, but it's pretty durable. We're going to put it on up facing down. And then we're going to press on it to make sure it's fully applied and there's no bubbles anywhere. And then we're going to cut off any excess. Now you take your little handy dandy squeegee and press any bubbles that may be there. If you don't have a squeegee, you could use an old credit card or an old gift card that's been laying around for months. You don't know if there's a balance on it or not. You know you have one of those. We all do. So just get all the air out because we're getting ready to apply it to our cup, and we don't want to have any of those little pieces moving around on us. So now you want to take it, and if there's any tape that's overlapping, you just want to cut that off. You don't want that hanging around because once you start to apply it, you don't want to have to mess with additional tape. Here we're taking a last look at our measurements, make sure we measured correctly. We don't want our vinyl to overlap or to be too short. Perfect. Here I'm applying the vinyl onto the cup. I messed up a little bit at the beginning, but that's okay. I was able to save it later. You just want to make sure you get it pressed on there really good, because once you start to peel the transfer tape off, you don't want any of those pieces coming off. But luckily it only happened at the very beginning, and it's all lined up. Beautiful. Now we have the template on the tumbler. We can start to color, if you will. So this is why I said that the acrylic paint is optional. You don't have to use acrylic paint. However, I like to use it because I feel like it just gives a little pop to the glitter and makes it brighter, I believe. You don't have to use the acrylic. You can just use regular Mod Podge. And this is just the plaid. It has nothing, no glitter, nothing, just regular. And like I said before, I'll link everything down in the description. So for this, I guess I like to start with the darker colors first and then move into the lighter colors, just because if for whatever reason some of the glitter moves around a little bit before you can seal it, then you won't have the dark colors and the light colors, if that makes sense. So let's get started, and I think I like to start. So we have red, is the Laser Red, excuse me, by Glitter Chimp. It's got chunky, it has some chunky, it's chunky glitter. Got that one. We also have the Alpine Snow by Glitter Chimp. It's also a chunky white. And then we have the Black Tie Affair by Bougie Panda, and this is more of a fine glitter. So we'll start with those and get your handy dandy brushes. And you don't have to use anything expensive. It could just be the cheaper brand. As long as it's a soft brush on there, you'll be fine. So because we have it marked, we can easily see what where the red parts are. I like to use my little picker. Some people have a weeding pin, and you can find those online. So we'll start with the red, and then we'll move to the black, because the red is a bigger area. So we'll just remove the red. Okay, so now we've gotten all the red sections taken off. We are ready to start painting. And I've got my red paint and the brush. Shake a little bit. And I just apply it on here. A little bit at a time. So it's pretty bright red. And for every section that we do, we'll go ahead and pour the glitter on. And we'll do sections at a time because the acrylic paint dries pretty quickly. Let's open this up. Okay, so now we got this, just the first layer of the red. We're going to let it sit and dry for a couple minutes. And then we'll do another layer, but instead of using the acrylic, we're going to use some Mod Podge this time. Pretty, I so love this red. What do you think so far? Okay, so now we're ready for the Mod Podge. We'll put a little bit in a cup. You don't want to pour a lot because it will dry up on you. So just do sections at a time if you need to. As you can see after it dried and stuff, that there are some sections that is kind of bare, you can see through. That's why I like to color the base first on whatever color your glitter is going to be. Because then when you do your second coat, you won't need as much, or you won't need as much glitter. So there you go. And you don't want to put more than 3 coats on there, because then the more glitter, chunk of glitter that you put on there, the more epoxy you're going to, more layers of epoxy you're going to need. So let's do this. Remember, Mod Podge, you want to work quickly because it will dry up on you. So it's good to do sections at a time. I should have gotten a bigger brush, but it's okay. This will work. Okay, so this section is well covered. So we'll put the glitter. You want to get really good coverage. I love this red. It has some gold in it. It has some greens and some golds. What other color do I see on there? I just think it's beautiful. Okay. Now, if you think a section has enough glitter on there and stuff, obviously you don't need to add more. There may be some little bald spots, and it's hard to find them because the acrylic underneath and stuff, so, which is good. That's what you want. You want really good coverage. Now we'll wait a few more minutes, give it about 10-15 minutes for the Mod Podge to fully dry, depending on your climate, the temperature in your room, wherever it is that you're crafting. You want to just tap it to get any loose glitter off of there. But as you can see, it's pretty good coverage. So we'll set it aside, wait for 10, 15, 20 minutes. It should be dry enough. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and clean up because we want to clean up through every time you do a layer. Every time you do a different color, whatever, because you don't want to cross-contaminate your colors. Okay, so now it is dried. Now we are going to move on to the black, because that is another dark color. Another dark color. So we'll start weeding out the black, and be careful when you're pulling the second layer, because the first glitter that we put on here is chunky, so it is kind of overlapping onto the other areas. So when you pull it, you don't want to pull it too fast, because then you don't want to mess up what you just did. There will be some parts that will come off just because it did cross over, but that's okay. We're just trying to make it as neat as possible. As possible. As you can see, some of that red glitter is coming off. That's because it created that line. And whatever glitter falls off of here, you don't want to put it back in your bottle or your bag, because it is mixed in with some of that glue, so you don't want that on there. Really sharp lines, really pretty. Okay, so now we're just going to find all the black sections and pull them off slowly. Okay, so we pulled all the black sections off. So we're ready to put the paint on. love this black because it's so sparkly and so shiny. It looks like we might only need one layer of this. Doesn't look like it needs another layer, so what do you think? Isn't that pretty? That yellow looks pretty on there too, but that's the vinyl that we're gonna pull. So if you're thinking about trying a different color, maybe yellow would be a good one. Maybe you can put gold in there maybe instead of white. That would be pretty. Okay, I think that is the last section of this black. Okay, what do you think so far? Don't worry about what the black that is on the yellow vinyl stuff because that's going to come off anyway. So that looks like pretty good coverage because it's the fine glitter. It sticks on there better. So we will set this aside again for another 10-20 minutes, just depends on your environment. And then we'll move on to the white section. What do you think? I love these colors. Okay, so we'll wait another 10-20 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes. It looks pretty dry, and I dusted off whatever loose glitter was on there. And as you can see now, the only ones we have are the white section. So we're going to remove those and start applying the white glitter. So try not to scratch the glitter that's already applied on there. And remember, whatever glitter falls off of here, you do not want to put it back into your cups or your bags because you don't want to contaminate it. It may have some glue on it as well. So, but as long as you pull slowly, that chunky glitter is going to come off and leave those sharp lines. You see that? Pretty sharp. Just remember to go slow. Patience is the key here. See, pretty sharp. Okay, so we're going to continue and remove all the remaining vinyl that's on here. Okay, we got all the colors on there. I might have to do a little touch up there, but that's okay. Now we're going to just let it dry. Do a little touch up right there on the black. But other than that, it looks pretty good. So we'll do the touch up, and then once that's all dried up, we will go ahead and seal it with clear, it's a clear spray paint. I'll show you here in just a moment once we do that. Here I'm using the Rust-Oleum Matte Clear to seal the tumbler. You want to get good coverage. Spray it really well all over, because once you apply the epoxy, you don't want your colors or your glitter to move into the other colors. Make sure you do this outside where the wind is blowing away from you, or in a well ventilated area. I so love these colors, I can't get over it. Okay, so I have applied the clear, matte clear spray paint on it. I sprayed I sprayed one layer and let it sit for about 20-30 minutes for it to dry, and then I sprayed another one, a second coat, only because this is a very chunky glitter and you don't want any of those big pieces moving around. So what I'm doing now is just kind of brushing anything that is possibly loose and getting it off the cut before I start applying the epoxy on there. You want as minimal movement as possible on the glitter. You will still have some, but you don't want them to blend for sure. So now I'm just, like I said, I'm just brushing off anything loose, and then we can start applying the epoxy. Okay, so we are ready to start applying the epoxy. For this step, you're going to need some measuring cups, a mixing cup, a popsicle stick or a silicone stick for mixing it, and your part A and part B epoxy. For this time, I'm using the Maker Flow Flowpoxy Fast Set, only because I'm an impatient person. Usually it's dry within 4 hours as opposed to 8 hours. But it starts to harden, I guess I want to say about 30 minutes after you start mixing it. So you kind of have to move quickly. Oh, I also use a Sharpie to mark my cups because it's so clear and I have really bad eyesight. So I'm going to mix 30 mLs of each of the epoxy of part A and part B. And okay, so we have mixed the epoxy for 5 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes, and we are ready to apply it. What I like to do is I apply a little bit at the very top. Oh, first you want to make sure that your tumbler is leveled. You don't want it to gather up too much on one side or at the bottom, so at the bottom or at the top. So make sure it is straight, looks straight. So I like to pour some here at the top or in the middle, and then work my way down, and then I wipe it off the butt. You'll see. Hope that makes sense. You want to make sure you protect your surface of whatever you're working on. Make sure you protect it for now I have the parchment paper on here. You can use the silicone mat, whatever you need to do to protect your surfaces. You want a good thick layer on there. And like I said, you kind of have to move a little quickly because this is fast set. It'll start hardening on you in 30 minutes. And as you can see, because we sprayed 2 layers of the clear sealer, not much of the glitter is moving around. So this is what I mean about moving from the middle over to the butt and then scraping whatever is on your finger or your glove so it goes down onto the butt. This is pretty good chunky glitter, very chunky, so we will definitely need more than one layer of epoxy. Normally there aren't any bubbles on here, but if you see any, it's probably a good idea to hit it with a little bit of heat. You can use either a little torch or one of those lighters. You probably don't want to use one of those heat guns. You could. I don't like to use it because I think it shifts the epoxy, and I don't like to do that, so it'll harden it faster. So I just like put a little bit of torch on it where I might see some bubbles, maybe. You want to do it from a distance. You don't want to do it right on it, and you don't want to do it for too long because you will set it on fire. I've seen that happen before. I haven't done it, but I've seen it happen to other people, so be careful. All right, we'll leave it and come back in 4 hours. Okay, it's been 4 hours and I took the cup off of the turner. We went outside to sand. You'll want to lightly sand between each coat and then dust it off before you apply the next layer of epoxy. So here I am adding the second coat of epoxy. For this coat, I only used, I believe 20 ml, and I still had a little extra to pour into another mold that I have. For this cup, we ended up using 3 coats of epoxy. So again, we'll just wait another 4 hours and come back and check on it. All right, it's been 4 hours. I took the cup outside to sand it and cleaned it up, and we're ready to put our stripes on. You can use your own vinyl to cut whatever colors you want, or you can purchase them already cut, and they come in these little discs. Now, these lines are pretty straight, but there are a little imperfections on there, but don't worry, we're going to cover those up with the vinyl. As you can see right there, but they're pretty straight. And here we're going to have 2 layers of striping, and I already had some of the black already cut from previous projects, and we're going to put that down first, and then you're going to get the color, whichever color you chose. I know you can buy these in packs, I guess, and they come in multicolors, so you can get to choose whichever color you desire. For this project, I'm going to choose the silver, and it's holographic. I think it would look perfect with this cup. It has some silver, it also has some gold, so beautiful. All right, let's get started. I really need to get myself a caddy to hold the cup from turning. But if you're like me, you could use a towel. It works just the same, almost. All right, this is the last step, applying the last layer of epoxy. Remember to always make sure that your tumbler is straight. And we'll wait 4 hours before we can take it off the tumbler, and then just let it, before you use it, wait about 48 hours. Remember how I said to be careful not to get any epoxy inside the cup? Well, sometimes that happens, but you don't have to worry, it's easy fix. All you have to do is take an X-Acto knife and get the knife just under the glue or under the epoxy, and then just lift. And there you go, easy. Well, we're all done. What do you think about your cup? Isn't she beautiful? I just love this one. Love these colors. Beautiful. Well, thanks for joining me today. If you'd like to see more videos like this, let me know. If there's different designs you want to see, you want to try it out, let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. We worked hard on this cup and she turned out beautiful. Thanks for joining me today, and come back and see me. Have a blessed day.